So, hello there everyone and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for me to bring you another 9 things we hate about FIFA 19 gameplay in general. I brought you 10 things last time, you guys seemed to enjoy it, and there was plenty more stuff that you mentioned down in the comments section below. I'm going to be talking about it in today's video, and then I'll try and relay this feedback on to some of the guys over at EA and their gameplay department, and hopefully they can implement some fixes in the near future. Now if you go on to enjoy the video, slap a like on it and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It's the big red button under the video, and we're still aiming for 100,000 subscribers before the end of the calendar year. So if you guys could help me out with that, that would be massively appreciated. First of all though, let's get into one that has been annoying a lot of people in the community recently. I haven't noticed it quite as much in my own gameplay, but a little bit more of an increase since the last 2 patches, and that is hitting the woodwork constantly. I have been seeing people hitting the woodwork about 4 times per game, consistently. That is ridiculous. There's an argument, really, when it comes to EA gameplay, that some of the stuff they have in the game is to scale up to real life. So, say, a team on average maybe hits the woodwork 1 or 2 times per game, you would imagine, over the course of a season. So, then, therefore, hitting the woodwork twice every 10 minutes worth of a game is scaled up to how many times you have it happen in real life. But no team, even in real life, hits the woodwork 4 or 5 times every single game consistently. I am not entirely sure what they have done or how they've even managed to do this, because theoretically it should be a completely random incident and a random occurrence to actually hit the woodwork, and theoretically it's actually quite difficult to do. The chances of it happening aren't that likely. Yet somehow, in a game where I'm spending 10 minutes of my time playing, I will genuinely hit the woodwork 4 or 5 times, or some of my friends will, and people in the comment section will. Again, I've only maybe noticed it 2 or 3 times a game, but even then, that is still really far too much in comparison to real life. This has been bugging people a lot, and this has been an issue since a patch, I believe in November. I think it was the last patch of November, and it's a really big one. And again, I don't quite know how it has become an issue. Number 2 now, and this has been labeled as an absolute ruiner for career mode. I don't know how much of an issue it's having when it comes to Ultimate Team gameplay and squad battles or pro clubs, etc., because they are one-off games where stamina is usually completely replenished after a game. Having said that, actually, in Ultimate Team, stamina does carry on into the next game, but at least in stuff like pro clubs and stuff, it's completely wiped. Career mode, however, where you get games every 2 days, it's a big issue, and I haven't even talked about it, I haven't even said what it is yet, but stamina with constant pressure, that's what I'm alluding to, is unbelievable. Again, this was a patch about 2 patches ago, so about the end of November / start of December, this was added. I understand what they're doing, you know, the reality is, in real life, a team would not be able to constantly pressurize their opposition for 90 minutes and actually survive the football match. That's fair enough, I get that, but the problem that it's had with career mode is it's meant that any team that has a default tactic of constant pressure is done for at the end of the game, and you can change it by spending 10 minutes going into the tactics of every single team, but why should I have to do that? They then did a new patch recently that fixed the issue, but only on new career modes, so all of your existing career modes that you started before the 2nd week of December are utterly shafted, because all of the AI teams that have constant pressure, of which there are many of them, will be absolutely dead by the 60th minute, and by the time you actually get around to playing them, they'll probably have a 2nd string team out because all their main players retired from a game 3 days before. So it's shafted, and we've now got a situation where you're playing big teams and they're playing their under 21 team again, like we had on FIFA 17 and FIFA 18. It's ruined. Get it sorted, EA. Career mode once again being prioritized less so than Ultimate Team. This was clearly a gameplay change that they wanted to implement into a game mode where stamina doesn't carry over into future games, and therefore they've disregarded career mode once again. Number 3, fullback positioning is a tragedy, an absolute tragedy, right? If you have a fullback with a high attacking work rate, you might as well sack them off. You genuinely might as well sack them off because they're never going to do any defending. Fair play, they will get involved in the attack, they'll make overlapping runs, brilliant. They will not defend. They just simply will not. And also, on the instructions, you physically will have to tell fullbacks to stay back in defence on the attacking run section. Even if you have it on balance, they will constantly be out of position. It is genuinely ridiculous, and it's so frustrating. In fairness, it creates some good counter-attacking football, but at the same time, when I'm on defensive, my fullbacks are still bombing forward. Why are you bombing forward on defensive? It makes no sense. I'm trying to hold on to a lead here. Number 4, we've got aerial duels, where your players don't actually lock onto things. This commonly happens from clearances. So when an AI team, for example, or when your opponent clears a corner away, for example, with the use of their head, it'll lock on to the opposition player. So the opposition player on the same team as the one who's just cleared the ball away will lock onto the ball and run towards it. Your defender, though, so the opposite player, will not. They will not lock onto the ball. You will physically have to manually run. And by the time the ball's even in shot, or the player controlling is even in shot, it's probably too late anyway. The other player is locked onto it. I hope I've explained this very well. Basically, if you're attacking, you put a corner in the box and it gets headed away, you're not getting the rebound, is what I'm trying to say. It's ridiculous. They don't lock onto things. And even, aerial duels, in the middle of the pitch. So your players just sometimes don't lock onto it. Just run away from the ball. Jog away from it. Or a player closer to the ball doesn't lock onto it. You might have got there with that player, but they just run in the opposite direction. It's so infuriating. Number 5, when you try to prevent a player going towards the ball, and they do it anyway. Technically speaking, you should hold LT and RT if you want your player to leave the ball, for example. If you think the ball is going out of play, you'd rather take the throw-in, or you think your player's going to miscontrol the ball and give away a throw-in, you could just prevent them from going for the ball. However, sometimes this physically just doesn't work. The player just goes for it anyway, completely disregards what you actually do, and then knocks the ball out for an opposition throw-in. And it's like, I told you. I literally told you so. I tried to prevent this from happening. You didn't listen to me. And this is the problem, really. I think sometimes, well, a lot of the time, actually, frequently, with FIFA 19 gameplay, it just doesn't really feel like you're in control. I talked about it with pinball defending before. You're putting in the tackles, but it doesn't feel like you're in control of your own destiny in any shape or form. Positioning of fullbacks, it's completely down to the AI in terms of their positioning. You physically can't control that. It is down to the AI sometimes when you lose games, and it's like you're trying your hardest and you're just getting nothing back. Number 6, fans boo at home every single time they lose. This doesn't happen in real life. If my team, right, loses to Barcelona in a last-minute 1-0 loss, I'm not going to boo my players, especially if they played well. If we get absolutely slapped silly 4-0 by Cheltenham Town at home, calm, I will boo the players. I think that's pretty acceptable. There has to be a threshold of, like, the star rating that you're playing or the actual result, because just losing 2-1 at home is not boo-worthy, unless you played absolutely cataclysmically during the fixture. Number 7 is literally just commentary. The whole shebang. I like the fact they brought in Derek Ray and Lee Dixon for Champions League. That is exempt from this rant. Just some of the commentary lines have been the same for years, for absolute years. And also the timing of commentary is pretty awful. Like, sometimes they'll only notice that you've scored a goal like 2 minutes after you've scored it. Or like when your player's halfway through the celebration, it's like, goal! And it's like, that's sort of already happened, mate, to be fair. To be honest, I've given up. I play without commentary now. I just switch it off because it's all the same lines. It's all the same talk. They still talk about Bournemouth as this flipping dream story. They've been in the Premier League for 3 years now. All right, Martin Tyler, you don't need to talk about the fact they were in League 2 4 years ago. It wasn't even 4 years ago anymore. It was 7 years ago. That's how outdated the commentary is. Number 8, players looking in the direction they're going to put a penalty. Why? Why? It gives the game away. I know you can bypass this by changing the direction at the last minute, but why do I want that stress? I'd like to just put the arrow in the direction that I'm going for. Just live a stress-free life and just know that it's going to go in that direction. I don't want to have to be fannying about with it just as the players literally swing in to kick the penalty to fool the goalkeeper. Why would the player in real life look directly in the opposition in the position they're going? Obviously, sometimes they bluff and they look in, to the right and then stick it to the left or whatever, but it's every single time. You can tell when an AI striker is putting a shot to the right because they're looking in that direction, or conversely to the left. Finally, this is the most recent patch. Soft penalties and fouls are ridiculous. What is going on? You can literally make contact with a player and it's a penalty now. I've seen things on Twitter of players genuinely clearing the ball, they catch the attacker with their boot, the attacker doesn't even go down, and it's a penalty. Conversely, I've also seen when I'm defending a corner, for example, clear the ball away. I had it with Eric Dyer. I might show the gameplay on the screen or something, but Eric Dyer pushed one of my defenders and my defender fell over. That was a foul, which is ridiculous. That would have never happened on the game before, and it was also a yellow card. How is that a yellow card? Coming together in the penalty area might be a foul in real life, but it wouldn't be a booking, for crying out loud. the penalties and fouls have become so much softer in the latest patch. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, that is another list of things we all hate about gameplay on FIFA 19. Let me know which is the one that annoys you the most down in the comment section below. And if there's any things you absolutely love about gameplay on the flip side, then drop that down in the comment section below as well. If you enjoyed this video though, slap a like on it and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It's the big red button under the video and it massively helps me out. And you can also follow me on social media these days too. My Twitter and Insta are at @theofficialfng and links are down below. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.